Hi and welcome to this short video that I've been putting together, which is aimed to go through our parent training session that we held earlier this week on Monday. If you couldn't attend, or even if you did attend, hopefully this video will readdress and address some of the things that we shared and talked about helping and supporting your children when using Seesaw at home, and also using the Families app for you, the families out there as well. So main points that we're going to cover, we're going to quickly talk about what is Seesaw. We're going to talk about how to access Seesaw for children and for families. We're going to respond to look at responding to activities, using tools to respond, looking at links through Seesaw, and then a short question and answer session, which as well I'll just readdress some of the points that were raised when we held the meeting on Monday. So let's move forward. So what is Seesaw? Seesaw is a student-driven journal which aims to provide children with a platform to share their learning, to access home learning that's been set by their teachers, and also provide them a space to respond. It's also a space where parents, Seesaw provides space for parents to be able to view their children's journals and the work that they've been completing in class, and provide comment and support and from that point of view as well. We use Seesaw across both Nelson and Wentham, so both of the schools, from children from reception all the way up to year 6. So when we access Seesaw, the main way that you can do it is through one of two apps. For your children, the way that they need to access Seesaw is through the Seesaw class app, or they need to log in as a student on their laptop at app.seesaw.me. From this point, they can complete any work that's been assigned to them, and they can also post work to their journals, which the teachers will then be able to see and can approve. For families, the best way for you to access the Seesaw is using the Families app. Now, this is the main way. So if you're a parent and you're logging in, you shouldn't go in through the class, because any comments or things that you put in that sense will come through to the teacher as if the child has written them. So you need to use the Families app, which if you go to your app store on your phone or your tablet, it will look a bit like this. If you then use your laptop to log into the Families app, you go to app.seesaw.me like your child would, but then you click access as family member. You will need to set up and register to do that, but that's not a massive issue. That's really quite straightforward, and you just need an email address to do that. It allows you to engage with your child's work, and it will also allow you to communicate with the teacher. If teachers send any announcements or post any work to you, or learning overviews, they can send them to the Families app, and you'll be able to access and see that. The main difference, teachers use the class app, and we assign and manage students' work and message families from it, and students use the class app to share their learning. Families use the Family app to view and engage with their own child's work, so you can only see what your child has created. And the Family app allows families to translate all of the typed text into their preferred language. I've also created a separate video that will show you, if you're using a laptop, how for it to support your children, and that will be being posted with this as well. Students cannot respond to an activity or post to their journal from the Families app, so you will need to have the child's app and the Families app if you both wish to access that. And I can say that it is really valuable for families being able to access as well. So when you access the Families app, there's a few little tabs. I'm going to show you what it looks like on a tablet in a second, so I'm going to share that with you, so you'll be able to see that. So there are different tabs. There's the Home tab, Journals. You'll be able to see any posts and like and comment on them if that has been allowed by the class teachers. There's an Inbox tab where you receive announcements and messages, and there's an attached multimedia button if you're responding to. You can adjust your account settings, like your notification preferences. So if you wish to have the notifications turned off, you can do that here. and you can also see translations. So if this button is here, it will translate anything that is written and has been typed by the teacher or the student in the announcements bit, that will be translated to the language that your device is set to. So when you download the app, you'll come across this side of the screen, and the first thing you need to do is you need to create a families app if you haven't already got one. If you've got children in a different class and you've signed up with it, you can still use the same family sign in. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you click the family sign in to sign in, and then you pop your password in for the app, and that will then hopefully log you in, and then off we go. So we're logged in now. I have the notifications turned off. You can obviously choose what you do with that. So now you have access to this page. This is your the learning page where your child's journal will show up. For the home feed, you'll be able to see their work and anything that they've completed and any activities they've done. If they've got a virtual classroom, you will see that there's a piece here that says pinned by teacher at the top. And this is their virtual classroom, this piece up here, which is where you might be able to find links to things, for example, their weekly Zoom meetings, PE activities, reading, spelling shed, anything like that. There might be a link there to do that. Anything below is other work that has been shared by the teachers or the children, the work they've completed when they've been learning at home. So you'll be able to see that. Anything that appears in here has been approved by the teacher. You won't see anything that hasn't been approved by one of the teachers on this page. Okay, the next tab you've got at the bottom here is the journals tab. So if we go to there, this then shows you your child, and it says that they'll have whichever classes they're part of, you'll be able to see them. So if I was to click on W, you can see that he's been part of these different classes and the part of the test class, so we can then see any work that Rob has completed. Sometimes you'll see here there are tabs that come up which are more than one person. This is okay. It doesn't mean anything bad. It just means that your child has completed this work with these other children. Only you and the parents of those children that are tagged or linked into this can see it. But it just means that you can see that, okay, so Rob completed this work with Joe, Kay and Alex. So that's just how that page works. It's just a link up, so we share work, and they're the work that's been completed. A handy little button up here is the calendar view. If you want to see the work that they've completed on different days, you can see that there's you'll see a different view, slightly different view, and you'll be able to see the 23rd, what work did Rob complete then? He completed these two pieces of work, and they'll appear and you can then see those. Final tab is the inbox. This is where you'll receive any messages from class teachers. So for example, here Rianne has sent a message to you as the family, and within that it just says, here's the recording of your work, and it will also show any historical messages that you've sent. Because Rianne has sent this message to me as a parent, I can then respond to this and say what I'm doing. So I can send a message, test to see if this is working. Okay, and then I'll send that. That will then be sent to Rianne, and she'll receive that, and she can then respond, and that will then come up on my journal page when for your families app. Only you'll be able to see that. Your children will not be able to see that. Okay, so that will just come up in there, and that is the main side of using the families app for you as a parent. So the next part that we're going to talk about is how the children can log in into their children's space, and how we can respond to activities. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to log into Seesaw. I'm going to go through the complete process just to show you what it looks like and how it will vary and differ for different ways to log in. There are a number of ways. I'm going to be using the text code, but you can also use a QR code, and I'll show you how to do that. So the text code is the 16-letter code that you will have been sent for your child. and the QR code is the same, is on the sheet that is on there as well. You can use either of those. They both log you in exactly the same way. It's just sometimes it's a little bit quicker to scan the QR code to access the journal. Okay, so here we are. I've now logged into the web browser. Now you need to use Google Chrome or Firefox if you're using a laptop to access Seesaw. These are the two internet providing pages that provide the best service. Microsoft Explorer or Microsoft Edge is not supported currently to access Seesaw. So if you're having a few issues and you can't get logged in, it could be that you're using Microsoft Edge as your web browser and it's not supported and it doesn't work. When you get to this page here, I said we've got two options. We can either input the text code or you can scan a QR code using your camera. Now, both of these options, when you get to this page, this is where you'll come into first. So if you go to the app.seesaw.me, which is our web page up here, if you go to that page, these are the options that you'll come up. Now, you need to click on the one that says I'm a student, and then your children can click on that. Lots of the children have been using this in school, so they're quite adapted to using this. But what you do is you click on that, and it will bring up these choices. We're not using email. This is my teacher sign in, so this automatically pre-populates and comes up and loads up on here. But this is the bit we're looking for here. You can either scan the code. If you click this button, it will bring up your camera. You need to allow access to it. So if it does come up with a box, if you click this and it says, do you wish to allow access? That's fine. Please use it. Or you can insert the code. So I'm going to use my code because I know that this works for me. So I can put in my code. Now, you might have multiple different codes. Now, all of the codes work. If you've been provided a different code for a different access area, that's not a problem. The codes are unique to your child. And say, for example, if you lost a code and you said, oh, can we get me a new code? But then you suddenly find it, that's fine. Both of those codes will work. They don't like replace each other, but both of those codes work. Treat it like a password. But once you log in, it will show you all of the classes, even if you are using it. It's been provided for a different class or a different session. Those codes work. They last a year. So from when you got them, they'll last a whole year. So if you got one in September, when you started in your new year group, that will last you till you start your next year group. So they're pretty good. They're pretty versatile and they do work and do a good job. So we pop that in and then we click go. And it will log me in. So here we go. So then we can click onto here. I can go to my class. And here we go. I've got my activity here. And this is my page. Now, if I go to my activities, I've got three tabs here. I've got journal, I've got activities, and I've got an inbox. Now, the inbox will only show, I'm going to start with that first. The inbox will show any student announcements. So, for example, where I've shared some of my testing and the messages from the teacher, or I've shared a wellbeing booklet. That's where those messages will come up. I've got notifications here. This shows me when my teacher has commented on my post, on the work, or if your item has been approved and uploaded. Okay, so that's the inbox. Quite straightforward for your children, and there's not really generally too much that happens in there. You'll get notifications of assemblies or Zoom codes. They might appear in there as well. The second tab is the journal. This page is where any completed and approved work will appear. Now you can see Rob W's not done too much work in his class, and he's not submitted. Now, some of you have loads of work. There'll be pages upon pages. Sometimes you can click on here and there'll be folders, and you can see the teacher set up a folder, and you can then see, I just want to have a look at Rob's maths work. So you can click on the little folder, they can click on the folder, and they can see any of their maths work that they've completed, and there it is. Sometimes there's not generally a folder set, but then you can just close that and you click on journal again, it'll take you back to everything they've completed. Now, this is the main bit. This is this button here, the activities tab. This is the one that's going to be the most useful. This is where any work that's been assigned will live. It will be in here. So if you click this button, you'll see some of the work that's appeared. Now, I've used some of the work that we've been using for year 3 as demonstration stuff. It will look very different for every class, different activities, different work. Now, there's 3 main parts and 3 things that we need to think about when we're doing the work, and I'm going to talk to you about them really quickly, and I'm going to go through those so you can have a good understanding of how to support your child and what they might need to do. Okay, so now we've gone into the activities. I'm going to work on this first activity just to show you how we would respond to an activity and how you can support your child to respond to activities. Now, sometimes an activity will have a template that is automatically ready there for you to respond to. Now, in most cases, this button here is the best button to click. It says add response. If you click this, it's going to open. If there is already, there's going to be two things that will happen. If there's already a template for you to respond to, it will appear. And if there's not, it will give you 6 choices of what you want to choose to do to show your response. So I'm going to click this. I know there is a response page behind this, so I'm going to click this one and up it pops. And here we go. We've now got this screen. This is our drawing template page. Now, this page is one of the most frequently used pages that you will see, but it's really useful. There's some tools that you need to know, so I'm just going to talk you through those step by step. I've got a slide that I will share with you as well that has also got these images, this page, and it gives you a quick overview of what those features are. So first of all, we have got the pointing button. Now, this allows you to point at anything and to move things and move text boxes so that you can see. You've then got an array of drawing tools. You've got a pencil, a felt tip pen, highlighter pen, magic pencil, make some magic stuff, and the eraser, so you can rub out whatever you've just done to make sure it doesn't affect your work. Then over on the left hand side here, you have got the text tool. Now, this is great because if you click it, it gives you a text box. Now, it comes up as a standard size every single time, but what you can do is you can resize it. You can make your writing smaller, and you can then put the answer in. So you could answer this question: meeting new friends and seeing my new teacher. And that could be my answer. Once you've done that, you can see, oh, that doesn't look too good. So what I can then do is I can resize it, and it automatically moves the text for me. I can pop that using the tool. So as long as I've got this selected, it will allow me to move and drag and drop the piece of work so it goes into the right places. Then we can click that, click off it, and that's done. Now you've got 2 options. You can then start another text box to do it, which will write your next one in here. Or if you want something of similar size, you can click the little 3 buttons. Now these little 3 buttons appear under anything on the pages. If you click them, you can click there and you can click duplicate. If you click that, it will give you a new text box which you can move. You can then click in it, select the text, and you can answer. And it should then let you type in there and you'll get your answer. Okay. If you don't like what you've written, you can then click the 3 dots and you can click delete and it goes. Okay, so you can then answer them. That's the first tool. Once you've done that, if you select your text box, you can also choose which color you want to have it, but just be mindful that it's the right color for the work, or so it stands out. Some of the light colors, some people I know in my class have put white, so then you can't see the answers. So it just disappears and it will fade, so you can't see it. But you can do black, or you can do any color, so I'm going to go with blue. The next tool we've got is a microphone. Now this is slightly different to what you might think it is. It's a voiceover as such. It allows you to speak, record, and point and share and show which answer where you're working with. So for example, if I click here, start recording, so I can see using this arrow, I can click here and I can now point to any part. So what does the narrator want to be when they are older? What would you like to be? And I can say, when I'm older, I would like to be happy and be able to relax. Okay, I can leave that there, and that's now given me that. You then need to click the done button in the top corner. That will then stop the recording. Now, this is now placed a complete copy of your page over the top. So it will cover that whole page. You can resize it and just have it as a video box. But when you play it, if I click play here, it will then talk about what you're doing, and if you look on the screen when I show it, it will show your annotations or your arrow pointing as you go along. So that's an important tool. You can have that, you can then stop it, then drag it to where you want it and resize it so it fits in the box there. Okay, you can then lock it in place so it doesn't move and it stays stuck there. The next tool is the camera button. Now, the camera has three options. It has a photo, which you can take a photo. Unfortunately, I can't demonstrate that one, and I can't demonstrate the video at this moment because I'm using the camera to record this. However, what I can demonstrate is the upload button. So if you click the upload button, and then you find whatever you wish to add in. So for example, it might be a picture, or it might be it could be anything you want, really. So it could be a picture. So I think we're going to put this picture. We're going to have this picture of Ben Stokes coming to our thing. You can drag it, or you can click open. So if I click open, there we go. It'll put that picture in there for me, and I can add that to my work. I can resize it. I can move it wherever I want, and I've got my picture in there. So why was everyone scared of sun stuff? Just put a picture in there, which is not ideal, but for this example, it will show you the tools we can use. And you can also do the same with a video, so you can drag and drop a video. Now, the three dots button again gives you a few extra options. It gives you some arrow. It gives you some shapes that you can choose from. So if you wanted to do, if you're doing some maths and you wanted to use some base 10 to show your examples, you could. It can give you shapes. It can give you speech bubbles. You could put a thought bubble in. Okay, you could put that in. So he's things so that you can change the style of it. So you could just have the outline, and you can change the color. So we're going to have a purple speech bubble. There we go. You can't write in it, but you can have that there, and you can put a text box inside it, and you can change it and have it however you wish. So you can make it a little bit smaller, a little bit wider, and then you can put in your thoughts and make them come out and add them in there. So if you're trying to show that, you can change the background colors. So you can have dots to do lines. You can draw lines. You can draw squares. You can have lined paper. You can have musical paper. You can have multicolored. You can have anything you wish. So we're going to go with that. And then finally, you could insert a link. So if you wanted to insert a link from a website, something that you found out, you could put a little link in there as well. Now, the final button that I'm going to talk to you about on this page for editing and adding to your work is this button here. Now, this is the caption button. Now, this gives you a choice of two things. So you can do two things. You can record your voice, or you can add some extra detail to your work. So I'm going to add some extra detail. First, I completed this by myself, and I am enjoying the story. I've now got that added. I can also record my voice. So I'm now talking about my work. So I really enjoyed this piece of work. I love listening to you read the story, and I really enjoy the story about the boy at the back of the class. I think I'm really going to look forward to this one. So I can just click done. That's now added a voice caption to the teacher. When they get this piece of work, they can listen to the child talking about their work and why they really like it as well. That's great. You've done all of that. Now, one of the things that we've found is that sometimes when we put worksheets on, it's a little bit tricky to see stuff, or you need to zoom in on something, or you can't get the text box in the right place. If you click the magnifying glass up here, if you click it, it comes up just like this in a standard view. If you click the add button, it then zooms in on a specific bit, and you can then move over. So I'm now working on this bit. If I now click on my text box tool, it gives me a smaller text box. So I've got a text box here. So where is it gone? I've got my text box. I can answer my question. He must be feeling really scared when he started. Okay, so that's about our book that we're reading in the class. We can put that in there, and then you can move to the next question, and you can just zoom in. It makes it a lot easier for the children to be able to add their answers in and not have to worry about text boxes being too big or too small. If you then click the off button and then go straight back to the normal size. Other things to look out for is on the far side, you've got this little pages sort of thing, and it'll say 1 of 1. Now, if you are answering and you want to add some more detail, if you click it, you can click add page at the bottom. Just let me lose this. You can click add page, and it's here. You can click and you can add a page. There we go. I've got a new page now. And that's that. The only other thing that's really useful function and really useful for children is when they're completing a piece of work, if they've been working on it for ages and they can't remember the instructions, at the top here, there's a little button that says view instructions. Click that and they'll bring up your instructions again for you so they can read them. If there's a video or an audio recording for the instructions, they can listen to those again as they go through them. So that's your work completed. They're all the different tools that you've got access to. The final thing you need to do is you then need to submit your work to your teacher. Now, that's the easiest bit to do, but it's also the easiest thing to forget sometimes. Now, the green button at the top here, this is our check. This means you're going to send it and it's going to be sent to check by your teacher. So if you just click it once, it will click uploading. And that work now appears in my journal, but it will come up and say here, waiting for teacher approval. That's now been sent to the class, and one of the teachers in the class will pick that up and they will respond to that and say, oh, brilliant, well done. Or they might say, actually, could you have a look at question 6 again? I don't think you've answered that question very well. And I think you got a bit confused on question 3. I'm not sure why you put a cricketer in there when you should have been answering the question about the text. Okay, so there's a few different options of what they will need to do. Now, once they've responded to that, their activities you will see here has become 2. It was on 3, and that will then be in their list of activities. Now, on their list of activities, there are a few different things here. You've got to do, which is the work, the activities that need to be done. You've got in progress. Now, you can see here, I've got a piece of maths that I've started, but I've not finished it because I collected it as a draft or it's been sent back to me by the teacher. And we've also got the pieces of work that I've done. So you can see I've completed a few bits of work here. Okay, and we've also got the calendar view like in the Parents app. Now, this shows me that on Monday the 25th, I had 4 activities that were set for me to do. Now, I need to just click in progress, and I'm going to complete this piece of maths. So I'll click the finish response button. It'll bring up and load up my template. Oh yeah, I forgot I didn't put the answers in here. Okay, so we've got the first question. Okay, so I'm just going to need to click in here. So that's going to be 271. I can put that in there. Now, this is what I meant when I said that thing's been a bit small. So if I zoom in now and zoom in and zoom in, I can then click on this and I can get right, here we go, really clearly focus on these questions now. And I can add in, so 261 plus 30, oh, that's easy. I've got my answer for that one. And I know I can work that. I can make my text box smaller and I can, there you go, pop it in there. It's nice and easily. It's much easier for you, the children, to see, and that's a little tool. So this magnifying glass up here is really useful because it lets you zoom to any of the pages, any part of the page really carefully and access those parts to share with your children. Click the button again, zooms back out. Now, this is what I was talking about. This activity has got 2 pages, so we need to make sure we click on the second page to complete the work as well. Once I've completed it, click submit and click the check button. And off it goes. I'm now sending that back to my teacher and they will respond to me when they see that later in the day. Okay, so just to remind you of things we've talked about there. First of all, we've got the add response button, which is this button here, which means it will take you to the template, or if there's not a template, it will take you to a page where you can choose how best to respond and you can support your children with what choices they wish to make with that. And then finally, we've got the green tick. These 2 buttons, this button here is vitally important. If you don't tick that and you leave the page, it is likely that you will lose your work. They will recover some of the work, but generally you might have to resubmit and complete some of the other bits of work as well. As I said, I'll remind you, here we go. So if you want to have a little look at this, we've got the all of the different buttons that you can access and you can use. So we've got the different pages, we've got the different the text labels, draw and record to capture the learning process. We've got the camera, video and the upload buttons. We've got shapes, backgrounds and the link. We've then got the caption with a text and voice or voice. Move things around, annotate and draw your pages, colors, and the different pages. We've got the zoom and zoom button, zoom in and zoom out button, and the hide the tools button here so you can see the whole page. And then we've got save as draft. If you want to have a break, come back to it, click that because it will save your work, or you can click your save your final piece and then that will share it with your teachers. So yeah, so that's a really useful page. If you want to have a look at that, you can pause it. What I will do is I will attach that as a little document to be sent out as well so families can see that, so that might be really useful. Now, I'm just going to go back to sharing the page of Seesaw so you can see how links work, and you can then use those links to access the pages that teachers might have shared with you. Okay, so here we are. We're back on the journal page now for this chart for our child here, for Rob W, and he's in the year 3 class. In year 3 class, they've set up a little learning classroom, a virtual classroom. Now, if you log onto this page, you can access this page. It will come up and it will be pinned to the top. And now that's chosen by us, the teachers. We've pinned that to the top. So every time you log in, that's the first thing you'll be able to see. If you click on the picture, it opens up. Now you can see that there's lots of, it might seem like there's loads of things here, but actually it's really straightforward and really easy for you to move around and get to different places. So we've got a little video message here that the teacher that I've recorded just to give a little update, and I'll put there some new videos, so that's new for this week. But then we've got little links. If you go to the little pet that looks like a little paperclip, the little link, it'll tell you what the link is. If you click that, it will automatically open up that window and a new page for you, for like, for example, for epic reading, for spelling shares, for the ICT games, a little bit of Go Noodle video, some dog, but also for, say, for example, Joe Wicks. We've also got on here a link to the Zoom code. This Zoom code is unique to year 3s. If they click on it, it will automatically open that page and they'll be able to access that really easily. So that is generally the virtual classroom and the best way around it. You might see some classes have got them, some classes haven't, some classes prefer to share their links in activities, and they come around and then you just click the link in there. It's very similar, but this is just just a little bit more child friendly for the year 3s. Okay, so that is generally all of the things that we have shared and that we shared on Monday. Slightly quicker than the meeting. I've managed to talk a little bit quicker than I did when I was in the meeting and go through most things pretty succinctly. Please, in the first instance, if you have any questions or you're stuck or your children are struggling, speak to your class teacher and your child's class teacher, and they will be able to help you in the first instance, and if they can't, they can then get in contact with myself. Again, thank you again for taking the time to watch this. Hopefully we'll be doing a few more little workshops and things as time goes on to help support with using Seesaw for our children and the children in school. Thank you and goodbye.